Welcome back to the Toledo Rockets Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Nowicki. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. So I have a bunch of questions in this hat. I don't know if you can see it very well, but this hat here, yes, it is a Toledo Rockets hat, as a matter of fact. And I have a bunch of questions in here. It's hard to tell, but a bunch of different questions in here or yeah, basically all questions, I think. So I'm going to randomly pick things out of here, and then I'm going to talk about that question, or answer that question, talk about that topic, whatever. Right. So we're going to go with this here, shake it up a little bit more. And there are some tough questions in here. So hopefully I don't get anything really tough, but we'll see. All right. And here is question number one. Your favorite current men's basketball player for the Toledo Rockets? Okay. I'm gonna go with JT Shoemate. And the reason for it is because he's got good size, can play down low, but it has a really good shot, has a really good 3-point shot. And reminds me a bit of when I was younger and how I played. I had pretty good size and I could score down low, but my big game that I was able to fake people out because they didn't expect was that I could hit the outside shot, the 3-pointer. So I like that about JT's game, and that he's a big guy, yet he can still score from the outside. So I'll say that that's my favorite current men's basketball player. That was a pretty easy one. So let's see what else we got here. We're going to keep sorting this out. Here's a new one. And this is weird. Favorite current women's basketball player. And I think I'm going to have to go with Quenisha Lockett because she really can take over a game. And she's really the go-to player for the Rockets. When the team needs a basket, they rely on her, right? And she plays pretty solid on both offense and defense. And it really, when she's not in the game, you can see the difference. So yeah, she's had some huge games. She just recently was named MAC Player of the Week, I believe. Averaged like 26 or 27 points per game, I think, for this past week. And I'd definitely say she's my favorite player. So yeah. All right. Make sure we've got this mixed up really good. It's kind of weird that we had 2 in a row about favorite player. So let's see what we got here. Here's a new question. Favorite new football recruit. Okay. So from the new signing class here, 2023 football, I'm going to go with Braden Alls from Central Catholic High School right here in Toledo. He's 6'6", somewhere in there. But has the potential to be a really solid player in the secondary for the Rockets. They're already pretty strong in the secondary, but he's got some great playmaking abilities. In the state championship game for Central, he had an interception, I think went like 90 or 90, I think it was 92 yards actually for a touchdown. So that was huge play in that game, right? And he's got playmaking ability and has the ability to really impact the game defensively. So he's probably my favorite incoming recruit for that reason. Plus, he's a local kid, and you like to see the local kids come into the University of Toledo and play well. So that's what I'll go with there. All right. Let's see if we can get something other than a favorite player one here. New question. Will the men's basketball team win the MAC tournament? This is a tough one. They They have the ability to win the MAC tournament. They're playing really well right now. After starting 1-2 in the conference, they're now 6-2, a game behind Kent State and I believe it's Ball State. Um, you know, they played very well and pretty much dominating their rivals, Bowling Green, over the weekend. And they're playing really well. That said, they have to get past Kent State, who is playing really, really good. I think Kent State is the favorite. And, Toledo did play them tough, but lost to them at Kent State when they played so far here in the regular season. I think in the MAC tournament, they could very well meet in semifinals or the championship game. They have a shot, but I really hate to say this. I think Kent State is the team to beat, and I think they're going to win the MAC tournament. I'd love to see the Rockets win the MAC tournament and go to the NCAA tournament. But I don't know. Kent State just seems awfully, awfully tough. So, yes, they can win the MAC tournament, but I don't think the Rockets are going to win the MAC tournament. I think we're going to go with Kent State here. All right. Another one here. Here we go. Is Quenisha Lockett a lock for MAC Player of the Year? Not a lock for MAC Player of the Year, but she sure has a great opportunity to be the MAC Player of the Year in women's basketball. Like I just said, she's my favorite player on the women's team. She was just named MAC Player of the Week this past week, and she had a great game against Bowling Green. Scored a lot of points. And she's definitely up there. Will she win the MAC Player of the Year award? It's hard to say. There's some really good players out there, but I think she's got a great opportunity to, and I'm gonna say that yeah, she will. So I'm gonna go with that. All right. So let's go with another question in here. This one just kind of popped out at me. Okay, I don't know if you can see this or not, but you can't really see the writing on it. Okay. It says offense or defense wins championships. And I don't think it really matters if we're talking about basketball or football here. Either sport, the exciting thing is offense, right? Fans like to see the offense, like to see high scoring, right? A lot of scoring. That said, I really think that defense wins championships. Yes, you still have to be able to score, so you kind of need both, right? But the better defense you have, the better shot you got at winning championships. And I think that showed this year in football with winning the MAC championship. There were times that the defense carried the team. Even in the MAC championship game, the defense played so well, limited Ohio University in that game. And yeah, I think really in most cases, it's defense that wins MAC championship or that wins conference championships and other championships. So I'm going to go with defense. All right. Well, before I pick the next one, if you really like this type of episode, let me know and I can do more of these. And also, in the comments, put questions down or topics that you want me to talk about, and I can add those questions to the hat for the next time that we do an episode like this. All right. And also, if you have not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I noticed recently in looking, 89% of the viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So when you're not subscribed, you miss out on knowing when the next podcast episode comes out and so forth. And you might forget completely about it for a while. So make sure you subscribe, and that'll allow you to keep getting notifications for new podcasts and so forth. All right. So here we go. Oh, one just popped out of the hat. So we're going to take that question. Here we go. This is one of those tough questions. In football, would you rather beat Bowling Green or win the MAC championship? This is so tough. This year, Toledo lost to Bowling Green but won the MAC championship. Um, Winning MAC championships are great. Beating Bowling Green is great. Losing to Bowling Green is bad. How do I pick this, right? I mean, Bowling Green is the main rival. You never want to lose to Bowling Green. You always want to win that game. But there's something to be said about winning MAC championship. And really it's something that we look at to evaluate the program and coaches, right? We've been talking about more recently about Jason Candle getting his 3-year extension and how he won his second MAC title. And not very many coaches have won 2 MAC championships as a head coach at Toledo. And so that's definitely an important piece. But so is beating Bowling Green. In a perfect world, you want to win the MAC championship and also beat Bowling Green in that same season. You want to do it every year, as a matter of fact. But if you had to choose one, as the question says, I have to choose one. I hate to say this, but it's win the MAC championship. Because MAC championships are special. And as much as you want to beat Bowling Green as well, you're going to be remembered more, I think. And as a player, you're going to remember more about winning the MAC championship than whether or not you beat Bowling Green. And I know that sounds crazy because Bowling Green is the main rival and you always want to beat them. And it's really not acceptable to lose to them. But I think there's something special about winning that MAC championship. And, if you win enough MAC championships, you show your dominance over the rest of the conference. So that is one of the toughest questions, I think. And I'm saying MAC championship. I'm sure a lot of people are going to say I'm crazy. Some people might agree, but that's what I'm going with. All right, let's see what else we got going here in the hat. We'll take another question here. And let's see now what this question is. What is your first Rocket football memory? Okay. This might age me a little bit. So I went to a lot of games, a lot of Rocket football games as a kid. And I have to say, my first memory, actually, I wasn't at this game, but it's probably my first memory that I continue to remember very well, right? And this was the 1980, 1981. Let me think about this. Let me look at it real quick. It's 1981. Wow. Okay, 1981. So we're talking 41 years, just over 41 years ago, the 1981 California Bowl. And so Toledo played ranked San Jose State. I think they were top 25, like 20 or 18 somewhere. I think they were 20th. And they had a really good team, won like 9 or 10 games, something like that. And this was Chuck Stobart's last year at Toledo. Ended up being his last game coaching for Toledo. And I believe he went to Utah after this, but he was the head coach at Toledo. And the Rockets led this game early on. Boy, I want to say it was like 21-10 or something earlier, or earlier in the game. But they fell behind and they were losing 25-24 with about a minute to go in the game. And they got the ball back. And Maurice Hall and at quarterback came into the game, I believe, for Jim Kelso, I believe it was, that had gotten injured. So Maurice Hall was quarterback, and he led the team down the field, a few nice pass plays and so forth. And Tony Lee was the kicker. and he had missed a field goal earlier in the game, and this one was like 40, 45 yards, something like that. I can't remember. Um, but he made it with like 10 seconds left or 15 seconds left, something like that, to take the lead 27-25, and then they ended up winning the game. That last drive that Maurice Hall had at quarterback and then Tony Lee's field goal, that's like the first memory that I really have um of that I can picture. I can still see it um from when I watched the game on TV, I believe it was. Obviously it was on TV because back then we didn't have the internet or anything. So but I watched the game and I can still remember the plays going down the field, a couple nice passes, and got down there pretty quickly, right? And I mean, it was like less than a minute and kicked the game-winning field goal. So that is my first memory. Um, and I was probably like about 6, 7 years old, somewhere in there, 7 years old at the time. So that would be my first Rocket football memory. All right. Let's see here. We're going to pick at least one more question here. Let's see what we got. Here we go. Who is your favorite current football player and why? So here's another one of these favorites. Favorite current football player and why? Okay. Um, so this is definitely a tough question. Because there's so many guys that I could pick right now, right? And hmm, I could go offense, I could go defense, I could even go special teams. Could go defensive line, offensive line, go skilled positions. There's so many guys. And I'm just trying to think here what's the best one to go with here. Um Boy, oh boy. I definitely was not prepared for this question, even though I had this as one of the questions. So that's that's my bad, I guess. um, but I'm gonna go on the defense, and I'm gonna go with Quinyon Mitchell in the secondary defensive back. Um, he was a sophomore this year, and he was named an All-American. Um, he had a great year. He had, I believe it was 4 interceptions in one game against Northern Illinois. Two of them were returned for touchdowns. Uh, he just played great all year. He was the shutdown corner. Um, and there was a lot of times that the other team didn't even throw his way because of how good he had become. Um, so I'd say he's definitely my favorite player currently on the team. And the reason why is just because um he has been such a great player that's impacted the team so much. And again, I talked before about defense winning championships. Well, he plays on defense and was a big part of that MAC championship victory because of the defense playing so well. So yeah, I'm going to go with Kunyan Mitchell. That's my answer there. All right, we're going to go with one more question, I think, here. Here we go. Okay. Women's basketball. Would you rather win the WNIT? Toledo has won the WNIT in the past, right? So would you rather win the WNIT or go to the NCAA tournament for women's basketball? So we know Toledo did win the WNIT in the past, right? So in this question, it's either winning that tournament or going to the NCAA tournament. And the thought process there is pretty much that you're going to go to the NCAA tournament. You might win a game, but you're not going to win the NCAA tournament, okay? Because obviously, if the question was win one of those two tournaments, you want to win the NCAA tournament. But you would either win the WNIT or go to the NCAA tournament. Um, it's been quite a while since the Rockets have been to the NCAA tournament, and that's for men's or women's, really. But just talking about women's here. Um, and the WNIT, that's a great accomplishment. I mean, when the Rockets won it, that was huge, right? To beat USC for the WNIT championship. Um, but the NCAA tournament is a standard. And if you're good enough to win the WNIT, you're probably good enough to win some games, at least one game, if not some games in the NCAA tournament as well. Um, it would be a tough matchup, the first round, but you know, the NCAA tournament again, that's the standard. So I'm gonna go with the NCAA tournament, rather play in the NCAA tournament than win the WNIT. Take nothing away from winning the WNIT. That's a great accomplishment. And Toledo has done that before. And that was awesome. That was great press for the university. It really helped the women's program out a lot, I think. And they had a nice run the year after that as well. Didn't win the tournament, but had a nice run in the WNIT. But I'm going to say, yeah, going to the NCAA tournament is what I would pick if I had to pick one of those two. All right. So let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and take one more question. Why not? So here we go. Last question right here. Will the women's basketball team win the MAC tournament? So tough question, right? I think right now, as much as I hate to say it, Bowling Green is the favorite in women's basketball on the MAC. They are on a roll. They're playing very well. They did win at Bowling Green against Toledo. Toledo was down most of that game, but they did come back at times. In the second half, I think it was in the fourth quarter even, they took a 1 point lead at one point. Might have been third quarter, but I think it was fourth quarter. And then Bowling Green kind of took control again. Excuse me. And they won by like 10 or 11 points, 12 points, something like that. So the difference is that was at Bowling Green. They will meet again here in the regular season at Savage Arena. And, if you've ever been to a women's basketball game at Savage Arena, it's rocking, right? The fan base for the women's basketball team in Toledo is just phenomenal. And that is going to be a big game. Toledo has the potential to beat Bowling Green, and it's in Toledo this time, not at Bowling Green. So there's a big swing there. So I think that there's a really good chance Toledo's going to win that game. So that would mean a split during the regular season. And you can't take anything for granted, but let's just say, goes through the MAC tournament and Toledo plays Bowling Green in the MAC championship game, the MAC tournament championship game. That could go either way, neutral court, and again, two great teams playing. Teams, probably the two teams with the most tradition in women's basketball in the MAC, Toledo and Bowling Green. Now I go back to like the 90s. Bowling Green was huge, right? They kept winning MAC titles and going to the NCAA tournament. Toledo had some great years back then as well, and we know what Toledo has done since Coach Collup has been here, winning the WNIT the one year and so forth. So this is going to be a huge battle, and either one of those two teams could win the MAC tournament. There's other teams that have the possibility to. Ball State is no slouch, for instance. And there's a couple other teams out there. But I'd have to say that it's either going to be Toledo or Bowling Green that's probably going to win the women's MAC tournament. Yeah, Toledo can win the women's MAC tournament and get the berth into the NCAA tournament, the automatic bid. And this is a really tough question because both those teams are so good, and it's really 50-50. But I'm going to say that Toledo's going to win the MAC tournament. We'll see how it plays out. They definitely are capable of winning it, and I'm going to say that they are going to. So we'll see how that plays out. So, all right. I think that'll do it for today's episode. So hopefully you had a little bit of fun, as much fun as I did with this one, with, getting questions out of a hat. And let me know if you like this type of an episode and if you have questions that you would want me to answer in an episode in the future and so forth. And until then, I'll see you on the next one.